Listeners want to get your reaction to this. The Meltzer Says What Twitter account just tweeted out, Dave did the Bryan voice again while they argued over crowd heat in the Deonna versus Mariah May match.
How could they argue over something that didn't exist?
I'm not sure. Let's hear what this is. I'm hearing it. We're going to review it right now for the first time here. This was been sent in by a bunch of the listeners. Posted by Meltzer Said What.
We had Deonna and Mariah May. And inexplicably, Deonna is still a babyface. So she's out there making her comeback, and no one cares.
Brian.
What?
There was a lot of heat in this match.
For Deonna's comeback? No, there was not.
Well, if they didn't do a comeback, they did back and forth, and there was heat.
No, they got heat on Deonna, and she starts making a comeback, and they did not care.
They went
at
back
the end
and forth.
when they started going back and forth.
When they got
cared.
back and forth.
I thought they were joking. They're serious, I guess.
They're seriously mad about a comeback in a girls' match.
When they went back and forth, the crowd was real into this.
Yeah, because they were into Mariah.
They were into both. When they went back and forth, they popped for both one's offenses. This one, Brian, they were into this match.
No, I watched this match. I was like, we're doing this again? Deonna's making a comeback, and it's quiet.
They weren't.
I was watching it. I'll load it up right now if I have to.
Load it up.
Let me stop it for a second.
If I tell you a rooster can pull a boxcar, hook it up, motherfucker. What in the world are they? He can't even admit that the girls' matches on his favorite Vanity Project television program don't have any heat to them?
It's astounding the lengths that Dave will go to not say anything negative about AEW while he claims that he's critiquing them the same way he critiques everything else. It's obvious that he isn't.
Those weren't crickets. Those were people with wooden fingers clapping.
I want to remind everyone, the show you're listening to right now and the Jim Cornette Experience are free shows. People pay for this, for these two guys. We're reviewing
I don't
it.
know. I'm kind of entertained hearing them argue with each other.
Well, let's let him load it up. Let's go back to it.
Load it up. The crowd was into the match. They were not into it at the beginning. They were into it at the end. I can't complain. I can't say one negative thing about this match.
I didn't say anything negative about it.
It was a good match, and the crowd was into it. What more do you want?
Mariah slipped out, hit a kick, running hip attack.
Ha!
Well, that's it right there, but that's the problem. If Tony's listening to Dave, and Dave is pretending that the problems aren't there, the things you aren't hearing, you're not hearing. Usually it's, you're not hearing the things you heard. You're not hearing the things you're not hearing. When it comes to the AEW crowd reaction, what are your thoughts on these two going at it again?
Well, I think that poor Uncle Dave, his tongue lopped over his eye teeth and he couldn't see what he was saying. That's what his problem was. I would think at some point, if you and I just couldn't agree on just minor, relatively simple shit and started arguing about that, wouldn't we find somebody else to do the fucking program with? Because they're starting to be on two different pages here, aren't they? Alvarez is at least apparently open to the prospect that people might be able to see with their own fucking eyes and mentions things they might have seen, and Uncle Dave is still, oh no, everything's fine. That was merely a fucking ice cube that the Titanic just hit.
And that's part of the problem, because some of the influential voices for Tony Khan are not really, they're either not seeing it or they're not being honest about things that are happening in AEW on these shows specifically and on Dynamite specifically.
It's not easy to tell a Vince McMahon, and believe me, I've tried, to tell a Vince McMahon that his idea isn't good or that you really don't think that people are going to like that particular thing that you just said or whatever. It's not easy to do, but it ought to be. Tony is not nearly as intimidating a presence as Vince McMahon at least used to be back in the day. One would think that people could come to him and say, Tony, I've been doing this for 15 years. Trust me, this is a shits. You don't need to do that. But he only wants to hear the people as, oh, this is great. We've been waiting for a wrestling company like this to constrict in size until it fucking falls under its own weight like a fucking dark star.
Can you imagine defending any of those women division matches and the crowd reaction to them? That's insane.
No, I can defend the crowd's reaction to those matches. I'd have had the same one.